Well, good morning, viewers from across the globe. Today is Thursday, July 23rd. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma says all 5 Southeast governors have resolved to back President Bola Tinubu's re-election, declaring that the Southeast can no longer be swayed by political rhetoric, but rather wants to be part of Project Nigeria. And over in India, a leopard burst into a liquor store and attacked a terrified worker after injuring multiple others in a frightening morning rampage before the big cat was tranquilized and captured. Let's dive right in. I'm OjyOkpe, and this is what's trending. Now, before we dive deeper, let's see what you're talking about right now. We've been tracking conversations on X, Facebook, our YouTube live feed, and of course, Leke. And 3 stories are dominating your timelines this morning. Trending at number 1, First Lady Senator Remi Tinubu's visit to Abia State, where she announced a 2 billion naira intervention for the Akwete textile industry and pledged to wear the fabric if her husband, President Bola Tinubu, wins a second term. Nigeria is reacting. While trending at number 2, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has shocked the political world again, declaring that he has gone back to the Wike family, backing APC governorship candidate Kingsley Chinda as his preferred successor. We have the details. Trending at number 3, a viral moment showing senior police officer AIG Danladi Isa being decorated by his 2 wives simultaneously has sent social media into a frenzy. I'd love to hear from Dr. Abati on that. Now, here is where you come in. Join the conversations. Use the hashtag What's Trending with OjyOkpe. Comment on our live feed. And of course, Leke. Tell me which of these stories matters most to you. Because for the next hour, we're going into everything that has Nigeria and the rest of the world buzzing. But first, Abia State Governor Otti is defending President Tinubu's economic reforms, saying the hardship Nigerians are experiencing is a consequence of years of poor decisions and not the administration's policies. Let's watch.
I want to also plead with you to take our felicitations to His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Bola Tinubu. I want you to please thank him. Thank him for his courage. Thank him for his sacrifices. Some people may not understand. It takes a man with courage to do what he did in 2023. Remove petroleum subsidy and follow suit with the floating of the naira. What has that done? That has freed up a lot of funds that would have been used in financing consumption, to doing other things in the federal government, in the states, and in the local governments. And today, a lot of states are not paying salaries. A lot of states are able to build infrastructure. A lot of states are able to empower people to produce rather than consume. Now, make no mistakes about it. Every courageous decision, every courageous action has its own consequences. So if you remove subsidy and if the naira, it will take its toll, and over time the economy will begin to correct. So what you see that people interpret as hardship today are the fallouts of previous bad behavior.
Well, Governor Otti is not alone in this view. Many economists agree that subsidy removal and naira unification were necessary long-term reforms, but he's framing calling Nigeria's current suffering a fallout of previous bad behavior is generating fierce pushback online, with Nigerians asking if characterizing poverty and hunger as the people's own fault is the best way to defend Tinubu's reform program. Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. That was, the visit by First Lady Senator Remi Tinubu right there also topped the trend. But, from the comments by Governor Otti, you could hear him, already aligning with the president. Earlier in my headline, I talked about Hope Uzodinma saying that, the 5 Southeast governors are aligning with the president. I mean, they are going to back the president for 2027. But I'll take a reaction before I come to you, Ayo. Mob wrote on X, I still don't understand the logic behind removing the fuel subsidy if Nigerians are yet to clearly see the benefits. The money that was previously used to subsidize fuel, where is it going now? What major improvements is it funding? Why are there still so many abandoned and uncompleted projects across the country while the federal government continues to seek new loans? These are genuine questions many Nigerians have. Greater transparency about how these funds are being used would help build public trust. Right now, it feels like there are still many unanswered questions about the country's finances. But, obviously you've heard some, governors say that they are receiving more funds, from the subsidy removal. But, Nigerians are not feeling that as well. Well, Governor Alex Otti was speaking while receiving the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Remi Tinubu, during her Akwete fabric visit in Abia State, when he asked her to convey his appreciation to the president for his tough reforms. Well, during the event, the First Lady announced a 2 billion naira intervention to revitalize the Akwete textile industry and pledged to wear the fabric if her husband, President Bola Tinubu, wins a second term. Let's take a look.
I love OjyOkpe, but their showcase is too heavy for my head nowadays. Some are so stiff and they bruise me. And for the quality, the texture of Akwete, and I will tell you, I told Her Excellency, I said, if God brings my husband in a second time, I'll be wearing a Umar and pamphlet. Yes, I'm going to be wearing that because very soft, breathable cotton.
All right, the First Lady's 2 billion naira intervention for the Akwete weaving industry is a genuinely welcome development. These women have preserved a centuries-old craft and deserve every naira of that support. But it is the pledge to wear Akwete for a second term that has Nigerians talking, with some finding it charming and culturally proud, and others pointing out that a promise tied to an election outcome is less a cultural statement and more a campaign commitment. And I'll read some posts on X. Chris wrote, Mommy, respectfully, nobody is wearing Akwete or Ankara again. The way things are right now, even kuli is becoming a luxury item. Let's just focus on bringing down the price of food first. Okafor wrote, at the same time, many Nigerians are more focused on issues such as the economy, security, jobs, and the cost of living. Cultural appreciation is welcome, but many citizens will judge any administration primarily by its performance and impact on their daily lives. Lastly, Lucky wrote, Akwete wrapper is 50 to 100K now. The same market women you met in Abia can't buy it. Don't use our culture for campaign slogans while the economy is strangling the same culture. Win with performance, not with fabric. What a poetic comment right there. I didn't even know they were that expensive. I've seen some that are less than 100,000 though. Oh, right. Exactly. Right.
Different grades.
But generally, Akwete is quite expensive.
Yeah, but I'm sure they can.
They are more expensive than Ankara for sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So with cotton, you can have different grades of cotton, and sometimes you mix cotton with some materials that are like cotton, breathable, but not exactly cotton. So you can find a way to reduce the cost. Now, I'm going to take her comment on the surface of things, and I want to say that was a good outing by the First Lady and an encouragement to the women who weave this fabric and to the people, and by donating 2 billion naira. All this billion that she's sharing, please let her pay a visit to Lagos State as well, so that we can also enjoy the largesse from her
empowerment program. What was the program called? Our president.
It's Renewed Hope Initiative.
Renewed Hope.
Yes.
Women. I like it.
But I mean, in truth, she has been she's been very vocal about bringing back culture. I know she had a competition to have a national fabric, and you can imagine what an investment in that industry would be. Job creation, a restoration of culture, the fact that we've had in Ogun State, for instance, almost a re-engineering, a revitalization of the Adire market, and how they're trying to make it not just a Nigerian symbol, but an international, just in the way that we have, the Ghanaian fabrics. It's important for us to also have symbols like this across culture. Nigeria is multicultural, multi-diverse, and there's so many skills and talents that can be tapped into. So absolutely well done on that one. But when we come to the conversation around economic reforms, I know that everyone is trying to demonstrate how supportive they are of the president and who is the president's top supporter. And I, with very, due respect to Governor Alex Otti, who's done, great work in the state, I think it's important to also not take away from the reality on ground. And interestingly, we had a conversation with an APC chieftain around the economic reforms of the president. Now, I think the argument around economists is quite, and the position is quite, and the fact that these reforms in themselves were much needed. Over the years, even presidential candidates from 2023 had said that if given the opportunity, they would take away fuel subsidy. They would, some of them had talked about the unification of the floating of the naira. However, the manner in which it was done and the fact that the outcome on the impact of the livelihoods of Nigerians have demonstrated not enough rigorous thought in the process. So even IMF and institutions like that have praised this move, have also criticized a lack of response to safety nets, social safety nets, things to cushion the effect on the lives of Nigerians. And that's why we find ourselves in this position, whereby an announcement, a policy direction was announced on Inauguration Day, and there was not enough plan to ensure that this reform that was much needed would be well received and the impact would not be difficult, especially on the most vulnerable of people. Also, very quickly, one last point is that they talk about, yes, more money going to the subnationals. Yes. I am definitely for more eyes on the subnationals, on governors. They talk about, we want to thank the president for giving us more FAC allocation. What are they doing with the money? A lot of, for instance, this local, this Akwete fabric we're talking about, in Ogun State is driven by the governor. It's driven, so there are certain things that the governors can do that we keep looking at the presidency to do. So if they have more money coming from FAC allocation, what are they doing with it? Let's interrogate into subnationals a lot
more. Just a quick sentence from you, Dr. Abati, about Alex Otti backing President Tinubu, and of course, just quickly tie that in with the Southeast governors that are backing Tinubu, and it appears that he is backing the president at this point.
Well, of course, you know that there's a groundswell of support for President Bola Tinubu in the Southeast, not just by the governors, but also the ministers from the East, principally the Minister of Works, former Governor Dave Umar, who is also supporting him. And it's not, and if you go to Anambra, you know also the governor of Anambra, who is not even a member of the APC, is starkly in support of President Bola Tinubu. And, all of them have said, well, they will deliver their various states for President Bola Tinubu, including the ones that moved from their former parties to now the main party. But you know that Governor Alex Otti has a background in finance issues. And so when he talks about things having to do with the economy, he knows what he's talking about, either in terms of financial stability or the general reform environment. Only this morning, I was telling, Dr. Agbakai?
George Agbakai.
That is not just the Minister of Information that is saying, the reforms have brought a lot of stability to the environment. And he was saying, like many others, that the gain is not immediate. However, one major point that economists make is that when you do an assessment of Tinubu's reforms, you have to look at where we are coming from.
Yeah, okay.
Because practically, the economists and analysts argue that it practically inherited an economy that was on its knees. And that, he needed to take measures, that will rescue the situation. Right. But the question, therefore, that we keep referring to is that governors are getting more money. There's more revenue coming. External reserve is going through the fattening room. Then what are the people gaining? For how much longer will the people wait for these democracy dividends to get to them? Finally, as for Mrs.
Remi Tinubu,
Mrs. Tinubu supporting African textiles. It's not even just about OjyOkpe or Akwete. African textiles, productivity within the economy. I think that's a good gesture. It's the same kind of thing, we should encourage. However, some people are saying, and I think we should note that the First Lady of Nigeria has already chosen his attire for Inauguration Day if her husband is re-elected. So we look forward to that.
Well, you're already sure that he's going to be re-elected.
I say if our husband is re-elected, then we'll be looking forward to that Akwete attire on that Inauguration Day.
It would be nice to use the green, white, green one.
She can choose whichever one she wants, because that will further motivate people in that particular industry.
All right, we look forward to that Inauguration Day if President Bola Tinubu gets re-elected. Kudos to the First Lady of Nigeria on this win. Well, let's now take reactions to President Bola Tinubu's personal letter to President Bola Tinubu, commending his decisive leadership in the fight against terrorism. The letter, dated July 6, was only made public on Wednesday by presidential spokesman Bago. According to Ononuga, President Trump applauded Tinubu's resolve to tackle the issues plaguing Nigeria, especially the violence affecting Christian communities, adding that it is a true honor to stand with you in the fight against these terrorists and to make the Federal Republic of Nigeria stronger and more prosperous. Well, this is a significant diplomatic signal, but this letter comes at the same time that Atiku Abubakar's lobbyists are submitting DOJ records on Tinubu to the Trump administration, making this letter a powerful counter-narrative ahead of hunger in September. Nigerians are reacting and the responses are divided, and I'll take some reactions, Rufai, before I come to you. Shegun wrote, "What a twist. Some time ago, some people were jubilating about Trump's message to the Nigerian government about worsening insecurity. Today, he's praising the same government. I hope all of us will jubilate together." Another ex-user, Omotoyosi, wrote, "Trump writing a letter to President Tinubu over his decisive leadership and commitment to fighting terrorism actually helps improve the country's image. When Trump started with his threat of attacking Nigeria, many people were sitting and waiting for how it will unfold. But so far, I think the federal government has handled it well." Finally, Oji wrote, "The Nigerian presidency may have released this statement, but where is the corresponding confirmation from the White House? When a foreign head of state supposedly sends a significant letter on security cooperation, it is reasonable to expect an official publication or statement from the White House as well. Until that happens, people are justified in asking for independent verification rather than relying solely on one government's press release. Transparency and cooperation strengthen credibility." And of course, Rufai, you can't fault some Nigerians because you know that Trump is very vocal on his Truth Social. He's always posting. We did see a lot of reactions like that. People saying, where is Trump's letter as well? But I mean, this is diplomatic relations. We don't know how these letters were sent, but I think it's good optics, especially from the story we took yesterday of Atiku Abubakar going to the DOJ.
Yeah, like I said earlier before, I would have loved to comment about the economy.
Okay. So after Trump, you can just,
God bless you.
No, go ahead quickly, together.
Yeah. So, as regards this letter, you see, for me, it's the shock Nigeria has become that both opposition and President Tinubu are both employing lobbyists to go and do daddy oyoyo for Trump in America. Because all of this is just, the letter was released because obviously the Atiku camp, their lobbyists wrote a letter, and President Tinubu can want to show you that. See, daddy has been writing me too. You think you can go and report me to daddy? I've got what daddy said about me here. That's just it. In all of this, we call ourselves a sovereign nation. Both nations that are going to do daddy oyoyo for Trump, which is and when you look at the character we are doing it for President Trump, which is a very corrupt person, it's shocking where the world is. But anyway, he's the president of the free world, president of America as we speak today. But Oji, like I was saying before, there was a time this country held promise where Nigeria leader Tafawa Balewa spoke at a joint session of the Congress. And it is very sad that Nigeria has gone to this point. But Oji, you know me, I like wawulens. Let me want to scatter the table. That letter was a reaction to a letter that the Nigerian authorities wrote to President Trump. Oji, I will give any amount in the world for them to release the letter that Nigeria first wrote for Trump to now elicit that response. I want to see what they wrote in that letter. Because he said, thank you for your very kind words. I want to see the kind of platitudes and encomiums they showered on Daddy Trump for him to respond to that. That's just the wawulens I want to make. Secondly, Oji, we all campaign for subsidy removal. I campaign for subsidy removal. Yes, and I say it boldly. Because we thought that it was going to be able to cure the corruption in the system, where the money will now be used for the benefit of the people. But Oji, I thought too much, I expected too much from this government. I was wrong. In fact, I said boldly my words, that any president that removes subsidy will be respected. Because I thought once he removes subsidy, he will unlock a lot of wealth for the people. Little did I know that I was wrong. Oji, President Tinubu removed subsidy 1 year after subsidy was still being paid. If we didn't see NNPC's books, we wouldn't know about expenses, energy expenses cost. If we didn't see NNPC's books, we didn't know about 17.5 trillion that Dele Oye is now talking about. Oji, the monies that we ought to use to save for the people, is that not what the deputy speaker is now defending that they're giving to church yesterday that we're berating him? Oji, do you know that statutorily by the law, National Orientation Agency is supposed to do all that level of publicity? Do you know National Orientation Agency's budget is 450 million? National Orientation have not collected 1 naira out of their budget, and the speaker a deputy speaker is defending money being given to churches to do the work of National Orientation Agency. He is collecting 780 million. National Orientation budget is 450 million. Look at the shenanigan in the budget cycle. After this subsidy was removed, President Tinubu was telling us to tighten our belt. What did he do? Bara, he went to buy plane. $150 million. Till today, we don't know where that money came out from. National Assembly said the money didn't go through them. How will the National Assembly talk when they're shocking their mouth with Jeep, Toyota Jeep? Didn't they give them their own part of the money? So what are we saying? So how has it benefited the people? So as long as you, till today, the forensic audit and the corruption that was found out, even with the refineries, we've not gotten that money back. Over $3 billion was spent on refinery, we've not gotten the money back. The in-play of the NNPC, as regards monies allocated to subsidy, we've not gotten it back. The budget cycle has been fraught with a lot of corruption, fraud, irregularity, scandal, and all sorts of things happening. So the argument we made that, oh, if you save this money, we'll invest in this and everything, it has shown that. So isn't it best to keep the buffers for the people and they know they are feeling it? Why did we remove subsidy? Why did we remove subsidy in the hands of citizens before we put it in the NNPC? Because we thought it would be more accountable. After the Akwete committee, Dr. Bati, you remember, under your government, at first, this was how subsidy used to. People used to go and claim subsidy. They corrupted the system. Then we said we'll give it to NNPC. Till today, NNPC is not accountable. So the question we should ask is, whether don't just give the people back the succor of the rather than having this subsidy that we've removed, that the first thing the president went to buy, he bought a plane, lavish money for National Assembly, padding budget and doing all sorts, taking money away. We can blame the governors all we want and say, oh, they are getting more money, they are not doing. We hold them accountable. They should be accountable. But what about the federal revenue that is so-called coming in? We say we've removed subsidy, we've removed an encumbrance of billions or trillions from our money. And today, it's only 30% of 2025 budget we can service. Mungunu is crying and all of that.
All right.
Those are the arguments.
All right. Thank you for your submission, Rufai. Now, speaking of the fight against terrorism, the Department of State Services has announced that it is set to arraign 3 individuals on a 10-count charge in connection with the Orire school kidnappings that gripped the nation. The 3 individuals, Abdulrazak Umar, Yunusa Musa, and Shamsu Adamu Sani, all from Niger State, were accused of withholding information linked to the terrorists and committing terrorism offenses using a WhatsApp group to facilitate training. The DSS say the 3 individuals are set to be arraigned today, July 23rd, and will face the full weight of the law. Well, now, kudos to the DSS. This case appears to be moving quickly. Nigerians are watching closely for the case to be prosecuted swiftly, transparently, and to reach its full conclusion. Meanwhile, in Niger State, Governor Umar Bago has issued a stern warning to Fulani communities, declaring that families who harbor criminal elements among them will be held accountable for kidnappings, while also directing that any farmer who extends crops beyond designated boundaries should be arrested and their farm destroyed by cattle. The governor made these comments over the weekend while visiting the Emir of Bago. He also warned that any imam or mosque found to be promoting extremism will be arrested and their establishment immediately shut down by the government. Let's take a look.
Ko masallacin juma'a ne liman ya ce wani kuma ba kulle shi kama shi zan daure shi duk wani masallaci da tashi ya kare yayya tsakanin musulmi da musulmi ko musulmi da krista ko kabila da kabila mai martaba na bada ko a kulle masallacin sannan jami'an tsaro ko kama shi ko kawo shi musa shayari ya je wa sai yari.
All right. The governor's directive immediately sparked mixed reactions online, especially in the north. Critics argue that Fulanis are being unfairly targeted, while those in support of the governor's comments say his goal is to tackle insecurity and safeguard lives across Nigeria. I mean, I tried to take this story all week, but now we're seeing, a governor speaking, basically truth to power, like I see. I mean, the part about the Fulani communities and, the sort of targeting and the name is one thing that got some people speaking, saying that, he's targeting them unfairly. But I think that he is right on point. Your thoughts?
Let me just say first, I want to give him a round of applause this morning. We actually need more governors, particularly in the northern region of Nigeria, speaking up and speaking decisively around this particular issue. What are the things that he talked about? Number one, he said that those who are preaching, and by preaching sowing discord, will be he's going to go after them. He said about people who harbor criminals, families who harbor criminals, and that is in line with the Terrorism Prohibition and Prevention Act, where he says that even accessories to terrorism will now be found guilty under the law. So this is within that particular act. What he has said is what we have seen as one of the things that have continued to support the rise of terrorism. Number one, people who are sympathetic to terrorists, the ecosystem of terrorists, community members and family members who harbor these terrorists know where they are hiding and even give them a hiding place. These people are just as complicit as the terrorists who, perpetrate this evil. Then we've often talked about the responsibility of religious leaders. It's often said that Islam is a religion of peace, and it is the bad eggs who are twisting, the message to suit their own interests that are to be blamed. This governor Bago, as is properly referred to, Bago, yes, has demonstrated in line with this particular thinking and principle. If we must end terrorism, there's too much silence with, especially, and I call them out today, the northern governors. And these are the people that are most affected by acts of terrorism. It is their people who are most affected by the acts of terrorism. Already there are names that come to mind when we were talking about preachers who preach hate and discord and cause disunity amongst the people, until we go after these people who have a huge influence on their people and their adherents. We will not solve this problem. So deal with the surface, but also deal with the underlying causes that continue to push and promote terrorism and work against the fight. So well done to Farmer Bago, but want to see a lot more and action in this regard by other governors. This is affecting your people. You must stand up as a leader and speak against it, and also go after the people who continue to put your people in such difficulty and hardship. So well done to him.
Thank you, Ayo. Thank you for your submission. Now, as we continue to scrutinize the 2026 budget, Nigerians are reacting with outrage after the Public Accountability Organization, Trachea, revealed that the 2026 proposed budget set aside 22.15 billion naira for the construction, renovation, and furnishing of 100 royal palaces across the country. Among findings which were posted on their X page on Wednesday, 11 palace projects worth over 5 billion naira have no clear identified locations, including 1.54 billion naira earmarked for the modernizing and furnishing of some selected national heritage palaces in communities across Nigeria. The organization found that billions of naira meant for traditional palaces appeared to be routed through unrelated agencies, including the Nigerian Institute for Oceanography, the Cocoa Research Institute in Ibadan, the National Cereal Institute, and even the National Institute for Cancer and Traditional Palaces. Cancer Palace. All right, and cereal. Well, this is coming just days after Trachea also revealed that 8.05 billion naira was allocated for the construction, renovation, and equipping of churches and mosques, with several projects embedded in ministries unrelated to religious affairs. Meanwhile, this is as ICPC said it uncovered 908 ghost workers across at least 50 federal ministries, recovering nearly 1 billion naira in fraudulently paid salaries, with one particularly brazen suspect allegedly enrolling his wife, son, and mother-in-law as government workers while collecting the salaries of 12 other fictitious employees. I mean, let me start with you, Rufai.
The budget show is going on. In fact, we should have a special series on Arise TV called the Budget Show.
Yes, that's what we're doing right now. We're going to continue to scrutinize it. You know, we do it periodically.
Oji, you can see, this was the argument I was making. The reason why people like us argued for subsidy removal then was that we thought government would be transparent enough and plow the money into the needs of the people. But see what they are spending it on, Oji. If National Cancer Research Institute, that ought to make research funding available for schools for cancer, is the one now building palaces, and they are collecting the money. And these are some that Trachea has been able to review, because there are still many more like that. Oji, till today, they've not given us line by line item how they spent 8.8 trillion. That it was the World Bank that drew attention to. Till today, most of the line items in the budget that we need to see have not been spent on the people. I talked about even the deputy speaker that had the effrontery to now send these people to write that they wanted to use it for young people, when National Orientation Agency has not gotten their money. A penny has not been dropped. When National Orientation Agency, when we advocated for them the last time, they got their money. We saw the impact. You saw all of the things they were doing here, even with us, here in Arise.
Right.
And please, government, pay anyway on time. Please.
Yes.
So you see the kind of process that goes on. What I would like to say is, I don't know, because this problem keeps happening every year, I don't know if we can pass a bill to strengthen the powers of the FRC, Federal Revenue Commission, to scrutinize and make the powers be sort of like an OBR in the UK, to scrutinize the budget process. In fact, in my head, I've written that bill where that agency that will scrutinize the budgets will not be subservient to the president, will not be subservient to the National Assembly. The people on the agents will serve independently.
All right.
And all the budgets must be submitted to them to scrutinize for 45 days before the president now takes seats to the National Assembly to assent. And they should be given statutory power to raise red flags and to even be given prosecutorial powers to sue anybody that pads and put things in the budget.
Yes, I mean, Rufai, what is the job
that's my
of
solution.
The Presidential Advisory Committee? What is the job of the Presidential Advisory Committee? I thought that it's set up for things like that as well.
Yes, the budget office is set up for things like that. Senate committee, but all of them, since they are in bed together and there's no oversight.
Yes.
We should be able to have an independent body that doesn't care about them. Because you see, there's something I call executive usurpation. Usurps all those bodies of accountability. We must have an accountability body for the budget. I think that should be the lasting solution.
Independent.
Independence.
Right before the budget is submitted.
It should be given prosecutorial powers that if you see anybody pad the budget.
But let me just say something. But if I always that quote, culture will eat strategy for breakfast. As long as you can create 100 agencies. Because if we don't deal and repair the institutions that exist, why do we want to create another agency when we have the Senate?
No, I'm not saying create another agency. But I'm saying, Dr. President, Fiscal Revenue Commission.
There is.
Ramfac. No. I think there's an FRC, a Revenue Commission that does the work of overseeing the budget, but it's being subsumed. It's being shut down. I'm saying let's empower that agency. Give it, even its money should come from first line charge. Make it very independent so that it can whistle blow on the budgeting ecosystem. See, Ayo, in 2007-2008, the British government, it was seen that the British government made a lot of lies and errors in the estimation of their budgeting system. That was what led to part of the things they adduced for the stock market crash. In 2010, that's why they set up the OBR.
All right.
So we must have that accountability watchdog that is empowered.
Yes, I agree with that accountability watchdog. I mean, here we are seeing,
because we talk about this
money being allocated to mosques, churches. Now, palaces, 22.15 billion. Now, reactions are trailing the dramatic political bombshell from Rivers State, as Governor Sim Fubara has publicly endorsed APC governorship candidate Kingsley Chinda as his preferred successor and announced that he has joined the Rainbow Coalition led by his former beta rival, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Let's take a look.
We have made peace in the states, and we have a total, and I am supporting our Rainbow Party, our Rainbow Coalition. President Bola Tinubu is our president and is the one we are supporting. Chinda is the governorship candidate that I am supporting, and anybody who believes in me will support. And every candidate that is under the rainbow. For those of you who are saying, hey, let's stay, we want to collect something before we run. There's nothing to collect. I am already in the family. I've gone back to our family. So please, wherever you are, give your total support to that coalition. We need to move forward. The time of war is over. It's time of peace. And this peace is taking us to another level.
Fubara, the peace seeker. Of course, this garnered a lot of reactions and it was trending. But meanwhile, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has also been seen in videos circulating on social media, dancing at events and showing off his best leg work. Let's take a look. All right, I remember the last time we took Wike dancing. Dr. Abati advised him to change his dance moves, but it appears that he has even done it even more. But I just wanted you to just wrap up the thoughts about, Fubara going back to Wike and endorsing Kingsley, seeking for peace. Your thoughts?
To be fair, let me just echo the thoughts that had been shared earlier on, because that's also, I shared the thoughts exactly.
Yes.
I remember the early days when we had on this channel people, support groups, the elders of River State, the women of River State, people who were saying that they were going to protect the integrity of the state and were standing with their governor against what was seen to be a political godfather who wanted to insert himself as kingmaker and lord overall in the state. Well, a few months down the line, it shows that unfortunately, all that effort was done in vain, because the man that is in the center of the storm, whom they were standing by, whom they were speaking up for, even when he didn't have enough courage to speak up for himself, has now capitulated and gone to the camp of Wike. And the people, and that's what I just feel sad for, that they had an opportunity in the state to actually do things right. But, I mean, based on his own choices, he's gone back, he's now dancing, they're whining and dining together. Maybe he will also hire the band to all that conversation.
He's already done that.
He's already done that. So, let's wait for the next election. But I think it's just, it speaks to a larger conversation around godfatherism in politics in Nigeria, and how hopefully one day the people's voices would be the most important voice when it comes to choosing who their leader ought to be.
All right, thank you, Aya, for your submission. Now to some thought-provoking scenes from the Nigerian Senate on Tuesday, after Kebbi South Senator Garba Maidoki's passionate defense of traditional medicine and native doctors sparked a debate on the Senate floor. Well, let's take a look at what he said before we come back for a discussion.
Most of our rural dwellers, most of them rely mostly on this traditional medicament. And I think it is high time that we have a law that also allows them to be registered, monitored, and implemented, so that holistically, if this is done, we will also reduce the cost of foreign importation of drugs from foreign nations, and we will rely mostly from our own indigenous herbs and medication by our own native doctors. If I may call, if your ancestors decide to talk to you, you need a native doctor to intercede on your behalf of the Senate President.
All right, Dr. Abati is saying we need a native doctor. But this bill was presented on the floor during the debate for, regulations of, medicines and vaccines. But, traditional healers are often many people's first and sometimes only point of healthcare contact. The question of how to formally regulate, recognize, and integrate traditional medicine into Nigeria's health framework is one that has been debated for years. And a food and drug regulatory overhaul is arguably the right moment to address this. Your thoughts?
Well, many years ago, there was, I think, Chief Joseph Lambo, two Lambo brothers, one a psychiatrist, the other one was into herbal medicine. And Chief Lambo was one of those leading persons at that time who advocated that there was value in herbal medicine, or what was later referred to as alternative medicine, and that should be integrated into, treatment. Yeah. And that's precisely what Senator Maidoki from Kebbi South is saying. And the senator from Kwara North, Senator Umar, who supported him. The argument is that there are many ailments that you can cure, through alternative medicine. But they use the word native doctors. And that may be where the problem may be. But the major issue with alternative medicine, or if you like, herbal medicine, is about standards.
Right.
And then do we have the infrastructure to make sure that in terms of dosage, in terms of measurement and all of that, it can be almost as useful as orthodox medicine. I said the two gentlemen on the floor of the Senate talked about native doctors. Where I think they ruined the case was that the native doctors have powers to talk to ancestors. Now, I don't know where ancestors are coming into this matter, and that if we have
But do they not have powers to talk to ancestors? I thought that's what they do.
Well,
native doctors are...
Well, this is the whole gray area.
Yes.
About alternative medicine.
Correct.
Because when you begin to talk in the direction of magic or voodoo, a number of people are, reluctant to mix voodoo with orthodox medicine, which is based on science. However, what they are trying to do is to overhaul the regulatory framework for food and drugs
and vaccines
in Nigeria.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, the law is called Food and Drugs Act.
Yes.
So they are proposing amendments to an aspect of that particular act. So as for alternative medicine, there is a body of knowledge and argument around its relevance. But the part that I don't know is about native doctors and ancestors getting involved in curative medicine.
All right, okay. That's a sense of doctors.
I recommend a name in all of this.
Which is it?
Professor Sam Oluwalano is one of the leading resources of University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, was one of my professors, one of the leading resources on herbs, traditional medicine, and all of that. No, I think if somebody like that is brought into this government and remedies and natural herbal remedies are curated over time, Nigeria can be a net exporter of natural herbal remedies. This government, please contact Professor Sam Oluwalano.
All right, very well said. Thank you very much. Let's now highlight this viral moment that has Nigeria in stitches. A video showing Assistant Inspector General of Police Danladi Issa being decorated simultaneously by his two wives has taken social media by storm. The heartwarming clip shows both women wearing the same outfit, beaming with pride as they pin the decorations on their husbands together. Let's take a look.
The SCBIG enlisted into the Nigerian Police Academy at the ANC on the 18th of May, 1992. He gave a PhD in chemistry and a master's in business administration. He has attended several professional administrative courses in the Nigerian Police Force. Until his elevation, he was the Commissioner of Police in charge of Abia State Command, Umar. He is very happily married with children and he enjoys sports and music as his hobbies. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for AIG Danladi Issa. God bless you, sir. AIG Akaniele Evima to be answered by.
A round of applause for AIG Danladi Issa, well, on his promotion and for his two wives. Ayo, I'm looking at you as well. I think that these are the most coordinated women that I have seen so far. I mean, both of them, I actually thought they were twins. Dr. Abati, I'll ask you a quick question, but I want to come to you with the fact that, the two women really...
I think I want to recommend AIG Danladi Issa for the chairman of the PDP Reconciliation Committee, as the chairman of the NOA, Orientation Agency, Nigerian Orientation Agency, and Peace Commission for Peace and Unity.
Yes.
Because for any man to be able to moderate or oversee this level of unity in a situation that's usually quite chaotic and adversarial, then he does deserve his flowers. That's on a lighter note. But congratulations to him, and congratulations to his two wives who came up as twins. The only other person that comes to mind when I think of this Akwete show, I recall that his four wives would always come out decked in the same attire. They were all usually united. So some people just have maybe the gift of being able to, do that.
Only yesterday we highlighted a commissioner from Delta State where she, the love story where it was like wiping her husband. Dr. Bati, really quickly before I move.
No, congratulations to the AIG. The thing is the man is a Muslim. And in the Islamic religion,
you're allowed, of course.
If or when he reaches number 4 and he probably in the future becomes the Inspector General of Police, you are likely to have about 4 women decorating him. But the point to note here is that, look, in Islam, what we're saying adversarial, it doesn't necessarily apply, you know, because the religion, the faith, also allows, you know, having family. But the thing for other people to note is that in the uniformed forces, the wives are considered to be of a higher rank. One rank higher than that of the husband. So when the husband gets promoted, they are the ones that will come and decorate him. Even if it is one wife, it's that wife that would, you know, decorate the man. And you could see that the very first salute was to the wives because they are considered to be superior officers.
They are superior.
And he could not have reached this level without the support of family, and specifically
I actually thought they were twins when I first saw them, but Rufai, go ahead and salute.
I want to salute him for very good national assignment. Salute him.
Okay, he's about to go on another national assignment. Congratulations, AIG Danladi. Well, let's take our good news report now, highlighting West Africa's largest airline, Air Peace, which has entered into a landmark strategic partnership with Etihad Airways, a move set to significantly improve international connectivity for Nigerian travelers. Well, the agreement will enable passengers to connect seamlessly from Nigeria through Etihad's hub in Abu Dhabi to destinations across the Middle East, Asia, Europe, and North America. The Etihad deal follows Air Peace's earlier partnership with Emirates Airlines and a long-standing agreement with Han Air and Turkish Airlines. The latest collaboration is expected to further enhance Air Peace's position as Nigeria's leading airline and strengthen its ambition of becoming a preferred gateway connecting West Africa with the rest of the world. Well, all right. Congratulations to Air Peace on this latest milestone and for giving Nigeria a genuine gateway and connecting West Africa to the world. Nigeria's skies are expanding. Congratulations. Now we'll take our final story under entertainment. Afrobeat superstar Burna Boy is still making big waves after his appearance at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Global music data platform Chartmasters has just named him Africa's all-time best-selling artist, according to the numbers. Burna Boy has racked up a stunning 14.46 million equivalent album units.
Mommy, all I wanna do is do my things all over you. Deja vu, how it feels like we already falling in love, in love, in love. Be like say we don't do it before.
All right, on that note, I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis. Africa to the world, kudos to Air Peace and all the giants that are making Nigeria proud. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending today. Here is Deja Vu from Burna Boy. Enjoy it, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
People make me tell you something. If you see fine girl, where you bad,